anytime you travel, take the time to do research to learn how to do things in their culture. So let's learn the European style. We cut the same way. Let's pick up our knife and fork. And we cut the same way. Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, in Europe, when you're dining, Renee, I need that handle in palm. Good job. When you're dining, you never hide your hands in the European style. That is offensive. They always want to see what's going on with your hands. So your wrist must always be at the edge of the table. Let's put our wrists at the edge of the table, or your forearm, depending on the height of the table. Sit up straight, proper posture, and your wrist or forearm, this is the forearm, will be at the edge of the table. Never place your hands in your lap. That is an easy way to offend in the European style. So even if you're just having a conversation, you're like this. Yes, yes, girl, yeah. That kind of stuff, all right? Never like this, all right? So let's pick up our knife and fork, index fingers in place. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm so proud of you all. Okay, we cut the same way. Posture, Kai, posture. We cut gracefully the same way. Now, here's the catch. When you're finished cutting that piece in European style, we do not release the knife and fork. What we do is we rest the right wrist at the edge of the table, lower the knife. Do not have the knife up like this. This is offensive. Lower the knife and then pivot that piece in your mouth. Beautiful. Let's do that again. Gabrielle, I need the handle of good. You have to, the handle of good. Okay, let me see the fork, Gabrielle. Okay, always remember that, okay? So once you cut, let's cut again. This is something that you have to get used to. Avery, let's cut. Once you're finished cutting, place your right wrist at the edge of the table. Don't release the knife and pivot with the fork in your mouth. Beautiful. Keeping the fork downward. Let's cut again. I'm making sure I see everyone. Mike, I'm not seeing you. I'm not seeing you. Mike, you're relaxed, and that's not okay. This is for your future. Okay? I need to see you cutting, Mike. Cut. Rest the right wrist and pivot that food in your mouth. Good. Okay? Now, let's get something soft on the back of our fork. If you have to eat something soft like mashed potato in the European style, you would place it on the back of the fork. So you would put the fork down on the plate, always keeping the fork downward, and scoop it onto the back of the fork. Beautiful. Beautiful. Rest the right wrist and pivot that into your mouth. Good job. Let's scoop again. Let's get some more mashed potato. Mike, I am not seeing you and you are not doing it. Rest the right wrist and pivot that into your mouth. Now, there is this thing called the formal and informal way of placing rice or a combination of foods on your plate. The formal way, let's say we were dining with now the king. We used to say dining with the Queen of England. Now it's the King of England or someone at a very high position, or if you simply want to use the formal way of enjoying your rice. Now, the rice would go on the back of the fork again, surprisingly. There are two ways to get your rice. So you would place the fork down, and like a mashed potato, you would push the rice onto the fork. But what you will do is pierce the fork. You're piercing the grains of the rice into the tines. So you would scoop it and pierce it into the tines. So let's pretend we have rice, scoop and pierce it into the tines. Okay, like push it down so it'll go in between the tines. You get a small portion of rice, but this is the formal way of getting rice. Then rest your right wrist and pivot. Okay, let's get some more rice the formal way. Posture, Kai. Make sure you pierce it. Make the attempt to pierce it onto the back. Good, Emily, I see you. And pivot it into your mouth. Now, here is the informal way. The way you would get more rice and what you do at home and in a relaxed environment. You would then, this is the only time your fork will be faced upward in the European style. You would turn your fork over, place it flat on your plate. Make sure the handle is still in your palm. Serenity, I need the handle still in the palm. Okay, so turn it over, keeping the handle in your palm. Okay, make sure your index finger and thumb end up on the sides, or else it will feel awkward. Good. Gabrielle, you've got it. On the sides, yes. Place it flat on your plate, aligned with your body. Then you would take the knife, place it between your body and the fork. Your knife goes between your body and the fork, and you scoop the rice onto the fork. Kai, it would go on the other side between your body and the fork. Scoop it onto the fork. Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Rest the wrist and pivot that into your mouth. Gorgeous. Let's do that again. Place the fork flat, knife between your body and the fork, scoop away. Rest the right wrist and pivot that into your mouth. Beautiful. Now let's do that together. One more time. Turn the fork over as if you are getting mashed potato. Fork face downward. Now turn it upward to prepare you to get some rice the informal way. Place the fork flat on the plate. Knife between your body and the fork and scoop onto the fork. Mike, you're doing it incorrectly. I want you to scoop away from your body. So put it between your body and the fork to scoop away. Rest the right wrist and pivot. Beautiful job. Now the pause position in European style, I call the upside down V, where the handle of the knife is at 5 o'clock and the handle of the fork is at 7 o'clock. The fork face downward, overlapping the knife at the top. Beautiful, beautiful. Upside down V. Okay, so Nia, I need the fork on the other side of the plate. Nope, Nia, do you see this? See my image? Are you seeing it? So your fork should be at number 7 on your plate. Okay, Renee, your knife should be at 5, your fork should be at 7. So always look at your plate as a clock. So your fork should be on the other side, Renee, and your knife on the side of your, yes.
Repeat that for me. My dog started barking.
Sure. Renee, let's put our fork on the other side of the knife. Your fork should be on the left side. Yes. Overlap the knife. Beautiful. Nia, your fork on the left, the knife on the right. Yes. Yes. Now turn the fork over where it's downward. It's face down. Yes. And the knife, make sure the cutting side of the knife faces you. Now, this is the pause position in European style, ladies and gentlemen. This is a pause position. This tells the waiter or waitress, I will return, do not remove my items. Remember, in American style, it was like this. In European style, it is like this. Now, your finished position in European style is when the fork goes over with the knife at the 5 o'clock position, but the fork faces downward, just like this. Okay, beautiful. Kai, make sure that the jagged edge of the knife faces your fork. Good job. Gabrielle, let's see. You go into the finished position. Beautiful. Make sure the knife is on the right of the fork, everyone. The knife should be on the right of the fork. Kai, I need the knife on the right of the fork, please. Beautiful. Great job. All right. So that's the European style. Now keep in mind, in American style, the fork is upward. In European style, the fork is downward. Now, for the road, we have 2 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, pick up your knife and fork. We're about to do the European style fully. All right. We're sitting up straight, posture upright, hands off the table, just at the edge of the table. We don't lay our hands on the table. We place our wrist at the edge of the table. So, Marcello, we don't lay our hands on the table, wrist. Okay. All right. Let's pick up our knife and fork. And we're cutting. We're cutting gracefully. Mike, let's go. Good job. We're cutting gracefully. We don't saw, Mike. We remember, we just slice, slice. Good, good, good. Now we're finished cutting. In European style, we rest our right wrist at the edge of the table, lower our knife, and pivot that piece in our mouth. Beautiful. Let's cut again. And we're cutting gracefully. Beautiful job. Rest the right wrist and pivot that piece in your mouth. Now, let's get some mashed potato. Place the fork onto plate and scoop the mashed potato onto the back of the fork. Beautiful. Rest the right wrist and pivot that into your mouth. Now, Michael, I want to make sure that your fingers aren't down on the knife, okay? Make sure yes, and the index finger just on, good. Let's get some more mashed potato. Scoop it onto the back. Rest the right wrist. Mike, let's go and pivot. Mike, please lower your camera so I could see your plate, please. Okay, now let's formally place some rice onto our fork. Place the fork down, scoop the rice to the fork and pierce it into the tines. Push it into the tines, okay? Let's get some more rice, push it into the tines. It's called piercing. Rest the right wrist and pivot that into your mouth, okay? Let's get some more rice. Scoop it, pierce it. Rest the right wrist and pivot that into your mouth. All right, Mike, let's get some rice the informal way. Turn over our fork, make sure our finger, no, Mike, that knife needs to be in your right hand. Turn over a fork, make sure the index finger and thumb are on the sides. Place it flat. Gabrielle, come on with us. Turn over your fork. You're getting some rice the informal way, okay? Make sure your fingers on the sides, Gabrielle, on the sides of the fork, yeah. Place it flat, place the knife between your body and the fork, and scoop onto the fork. Beautiful, Avery, beautiful. Rest the right wrist and pivot, making sure posture is upright. Let's get some more rice. Scoop onto the fork, Kennedy, remember, place the fork flat and the knife should be between your body and the fork. Push the fork up some more on the plate and scoop onto the fork. Good job, good job. Rest the right wrist and pivot. Now let's do this transition again. Place your fork downward as if you're getting some mashed potato. Now, Kennedy, place your fork downward as if you're getting mashed potato. Good. Now I'd like you all to turn it over to get some rice. Place it flat on the plate. Turn it sideways in the same position as your body, long ways. Okay, and then scoop on to the fork. Kennedy, you have to realistically move the, yes. Avery, the handle of your fork should still be in your palm, honey. and your index finger and thumb on the sides. Okay, and position it down and scoop on. Rest the right wrist and pivot. Okay. Mike, I don't see you doing it at all, Mike. Mike, you're trying to take a break, dude. Now let's go into the pause position, upside down V, making sure the knife is at number 5 and the fork is at number 7. The fork overlaps the knife at the top. Beautiful. Okay, Emily, is your fork downward? Is it overlapping the knife? Yes, remember, good job. Making sure the jagged edge of the knife faces you. Okay, good. Never face another guest with that. That's offensive, especially in the European country. They will see it. That culture will say, oh my gosh, she clearly doesn't know how to position her knife. And so that's important. Kai, the cutting side of your knife should always face you. Always face you. And that's even when you're setting the table. When you place the knife at the side of the table, make sure the cutting side faces your plate. This is your pause position. Now let's go into our finished position. Placing the fork right next to the knife, fork on the left of the knife. Beautiful job. Absolutely beautiful. Handles hanging off, Gabrielle. Handles hanging off. Good, 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 good. Renee, no elbows on the table, honey. Sit up straight. Beautiful job. Give yourselves a hand.